there, Maria here from KUHN RIKON. Today I'm going to be using one of our uncoated stainless steel frying pans to cook a steak to perfection. This is our all-round range. It's stainless steel, 1810, and it's uncoated. So there's no non-stick on there. When there isn't a non-stick coating, it just takes a little bit more attention to get the best out of your pan. But when you get that really crisp finish on your steak, you're going to be so grateful. So I'm working on an induction hob today. Firstly, I want to get some heat in the pan. Medium-high heat is your maximum level. When you first put a pan onto a hob, you've got to ease into it. It doesn't like being shocked onto a really high heat. So even with induction, go for a medium-high. So uncoated is really wonderful, but we must use some sort of oil or fat. It doesn't have that non-stick coating to do the job for you, to allow a release. So what it does need is some sort of oil or fat. But our uncoated stainless steel needs to be at a certain temperature for us to be able to even add that oil. So number one, don't add oil to a cold pan and then put it on the heat, because stainless steel is a porous material, and what's going to happen is it starts to respond to the heat, and whatever material was on there when it was cold is going to start to sink in and not do its job. So we have this lovely little trick that we're going to do today. And the trick is you're going to just keep the pan empty, but with medium-high heat. And you're going to start to add little droplets of water. When you start to feel that this is getting hot, hot enough that you don't want to touch it, that's when you want to start testing it with these little droplets of water. And I'm going to wait just a little bit longer because I want a bit more heat in there. But essentially, I'm using a bowl with some tap water, cold, not too cold, not too hot, like room temperature tap water. And I'm using a little teaspoon. And I really just want to take a little bit of that water. And when I think there is sufficient heat in the pan, I'm going to start adding droplets. Now, what the droplets should do is form a little perfect sphere and roll around the pan if you have achieved the right temperature. If it is too cold or too hot, that won't happen. And that is just something that you can use to help you know exactly when your pan, when it's uncoated, is the right temperature. So we got a little bit of splintering there, not quite the right temperature. It is getting some heat to it though. There's one ball, yeah, we're getting there, but that might be just a little bit more. So that's actually a bit too hot. And the reason I know that is because, yes, there is the balls, but they are splintering. So I'm going to bring it down just a smidge. So when it's too cold, the water won't form a ball at all. When it's too hot, the balls will start to splinter. But actually, look, we have achieved perfection. Here are some remaining. Let's do one more little test. So I'm on an induction hob. So it takes a little minute for it to respond. Let's go down again. There we have it. So these big globules rolling around. The bigger the globule, the better, and they start to join together. It's very fascinating to watch, actually. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go in with my oil. I'm using just vegetable oil, actually. Different oils will start to do different things at different temperatures, but the oil goes in. Really, you need maybe just 10-15 seconds. And by the way, those of you that are really into your meats, your steak, you want to take it out of the fridge and make sure it's room temperature, and you want to season it. So those of you that are really into it, you then got to hear that sizzle. So sizzle is good. Most important thing at this point is not to touch that steak. I'm going to do 90 seconds. Anywhere from like a minute to 2 minutes, depending on the thickness of your steak, should get you a medium rare inside. It will vary depending on the thickness of your steak. But the most important thing, I've got my timer on, is not to touch the steak in the first 40 seconds for sure, because the crisp surface won't have formed yet, and what's going to happen is it's going to stick. So the two most common problems that we have with using uncoated for the first time is not getting enough heat in the pan, putting the oil in too early, and then moving the food too soon. So you really just got to be patient. You've got to trust the process, be patient. So we're about halfway through our cooking time, and you will taste the difference. If you were using a pan with a non-stick coating, you just won't get that same crisp flavor or finish as you will with an uncoated stainless steel. So you will learn to love it, and once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. So we're 1:15 in. The way to test if it's happy for you to move the steak is really just to give it a little nudge and just to see if it's willing to move. If it's not willing to move, leave it a little longer. I'm going to go down with my temperature just a little bit, just because of the smoke and the color that I was starting to see. A little more time. I'm going to do about 10 seconds more. Okay, good pair of tongs. I would recommend using a tong that is good for like soft edged. So wood is good, but I still wouldn't, metal is going to scratch a little bit your stainless steel. So that is that lovely crisp edge. And we'll do another 90 seconds on this side. It really is about patience. It feels like an age when you're standing watching. 90 seconds feels like an age, but it's really important that you do not move that ingredient once it's in the pan. You flip it and you wait. And the final element to your steak, which I'm going to take out now, is a rest. So you're going to pop that out. I'd recommend resting it for 10 minutes or so. There's another nice little test that you can do. If you want rare, medium rare, then there should be a little bit of give. So you can use your fingers to test, but I'm just, for safety reasons, careful not to burn yourself. So I'm going to turn the heat off on that. And there's just a little bit of bounce, and that is a good sign. So we're going to let that steak rest, wrap it up like a Christmas present. And to be honest, I'm just going to do 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, because you want to eat that steak, It's not a big joint, so you don't want it to get too cold. So you really just want 5 minutes of cheeky rest. Job done. We've let it rest. You want to take it out, pop it on your chopping board. And again, I was aiming for a medium rare, just to get that pinkness. Perfect for your ciabatta or your salad, or just eating it straight off the board.